going to see a Super Bowl win. Like, my window is closing, Fred.
Never know. I mean, it could happen. I could end up at one of these Chauncey Billups poker games.
It's Monday, y'all.
Here we are. If you're just tuning in, hit that like button, smash the subscribe button. Okay. All right. So what's going on, Freddie? How's it going, buddy?
Just chilling, getting ready for this madness.
The madness is here.
Yeah.
The madness is here for sure. So I got a guest today. So I'm kind of excited about our new guest. He's the newest agent at Oakenstone Real Estate. So obviously he's making some good choices so far. A father, golfer, baseball coach, realtor, none other than my main man, Fred. Let's see here. There he is. Fred, welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How you guys doing, man? I'm super excited to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on. I love sports, love talking sports, and can't wait to get started. And this is one of the best times of the year for sports anyway. So let's get it going, man.
Yeah, we're excited. I just want to start it off right now because something came up this week and I was interested in. Is sports dead? The question is sports dead? Now, let me give you a little context behind that, okay? The context behind that is the viewership. Okay. And we take people like myself who I have a 23-year-old and a soon to be 12-year-old that, both like sports, but I just don't see them sitting down and watching golf the whole time or watching an entire basketball game or an entire football game. It's highlights, short reels, short clips, what social media is doing to the sport right now. I'm going to start with Fred first. Fred, what's your take on that? Like, you have younger kids, you have sports nuts as kids. Like, what do you see? Your son doesn't sit down and watch the entire Players Championship, does he?
Oh my God, no. Honestly, this is a great topic because it's definitely getting that kind of feel that sports may be dying. I have a 20-year-old daughter and my son is almost 17. And they grew up in a household watching sports. That's almost only thing that was on the TV in this house, and probably still is basically. It drives my wife nuts. But at the same time, they've always been around it and always seen me watching it. For me as a kid, I was always watch the game guy. I was like, I didn't have a lot of chances to sit down with my dad and watch a game or, whatever. So when I did, it was kind of special. But nowadays, I feel like their kids have too many other options. Like, they can scroll TikTok or they can, play PlayStation or, whatever it is. And it's like they don't have the patience to sit down and watch a game start to finish, in my opinion. And I think it's kind of obvious the way sports are turning and changing things. They're trying to make things more, kid-friendly, more offense, make things more exciting, rule changes. Now, I will say this. I don't think this applies to football because football is one sport that I think kids will still sit and watch, at least my kids, start to finish. Like, you look forward to the Lions game on Sunday, right? Yeah. I mean, kickoff to the final whistle, right? And that's the end of it. They'll sit and watch it start to finish. So there's that, but that's once a week, right? So, all in all, I think it could possibly be slowly dying a slow death kind of, just because kids don't have the patience. They don't have the attention span. They got a lot of options. That being said, real quick, last night, I'm watching the WBC, U.S. Dominican. Second inning rolls around. My son comes downstairs, plants his rear end on the couch, and watches the rest of the game with me. I said, where the hell did that come from, right? But awesome. It's interesting. I think there's something kind of to what you're saying. So, yeah, it's the generation maybe. It's just too many things, too many options.
For sure. Freddie, what's your take on that? You don't have young kids, but you are a Funkle. Yeah. But I think that your nephew is an oddity with, he will sit down and watch every single Yankee game. So I think you have to take him out of it. He doesn't count because you just don't see that. What is your thought on that?
I understand where you're coming from. They definitely have a ton of options now and some other things that are, there's people on TikTok that broadcast games. So like you can watch a game through TikTok if you want and listen to some dude talk. Also with the short clips. Sorry if the sirens are drowning me out here. It's the city life here. They're gone, I think. They're just going to...
Just making sure they're not looking for you,
They ain't looking for me. They'll never find me. So, but I will say this, the numbers don't match up with what you're saying with viewership. Well, the viewership has been going up. And I think that attributes to like the Netflix of the world and the Primes and Peacocks that are also jumping into the sports arena, let's say, to get like, I mean, Netflix has baseball this year. So like automatically the games are going to have a ton of viewership just because, Netflix has so many viewers to begin with. So, and then the Peacock and Primes. So they're making it more accessible to the generation with the apps because we weren't a generation of apps. Like in my household, it was, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 11, right? On the television. And we watched whatever game was on. Like, now we got obviously local games. And then it went into the sports package genre that we got into that like little phase. First it was sports bars. Then it was you can get the Sunday ticket, like anyone can. Then you can get that through your cable company. Then you can get it through, and now it's like, I mean, with apps out there and stuff like that. And Brad, this, the apps that me and you have had, IPTV subscription apps.
Right.
Like it's so easy and accessible now. Now, I don't know if I feel like that kind of like also caters to us guys because now we just from watching just the local game, now you can watch all the games. Like, like it's a little different when you have the access to like after this for my personal opinion is like having the access after the Yankee game. Okay, well, I'm just going to flip on some West Coast games. Like, like it's like you get to watch Ohtani. I mean, like, like there's things out there, but that may be just for guys like us who are, junkies and watch a lot of sports. But I do think that like the numbers don't lie either, though. So the numbers are rising. And Brad, dude, nobody's sitting around watching golf anymore. Like you guys might, but look at the numbers of golf. I mean, the WNBA has more viewership than golf on a Sunday outside of the majors.
Here we go. I'm shockingly surprised that this is the first time you brought up the WNBA in a couple weeks, which, go ahead.
I feel like certain events, kids are, the younger generation are more willing to sit down through, like I said, football is made for TV, different animal. Everybody sits and watches football, obviously. I mean, that goes for the NFL. College football playoff, if your teams are in it, you're going to sit and watch it. I mean, I sit and watch it anyway. And the NCAA tournament. I mean, those are made for TV. My kids will both be watching those, if at all possible, start to finish. Thursday and Friday coming up are two of the best days of the year, right?
Right.
But Freddie, nobody watches golf? Come on, man,
Freddie,
you're killing me.
Well, the numbers don't line up.
You're going by, by viewership.
It's
ratings,
a worldwide sport.
I mean, obviously,
got that.
But no, I'm a golf guy, and I can sit and watch golf, like especially like the players yesterday or whatever, start to finish. That's just who I am. But I agree, kids aren't going to watch golf that often. But you're right with the streaming. No doubt about it. They're making the adjustments to make it more accessible. Kids are on their phones 24/7 in their faces. At least they can watch a game on that. So I agree with you on that, Freddie, for sure. Yep.
Well, I bring it up more or less golf, and then I thought about with other sports, right? But I remember going over to my grandpa's house, and he's watching start to finish all 18 holes, every single player. You know what I mean? I'm watching it as much as I possibly can. But like especially yesterday, I'm flipping back to the Michigan game.
Yeah.
And then, golf was over by the time the baseball game was on, but had a baseball game been on, I would have been, toggling between all three things. But that was the thing that brought it up was the baseball or the golf thing for me is like, our grandparents' generation, they were watching it all the time if they were golf fans, and so on. But I don't know. I was just curious what your guys' thoughts on that. But obviously the biggest topic right now, March Madness, the obvious selection Sunday was last night. I don't think there was any surprises, so to speak. I think most of the bubble was kind of lame. We knew who was going to get in. I think the only controversy maybe might have been seeding. My question to you guys, and Fred, I'm going to go to you first, is of the number one teams that were that are in the tournament right now, who was the most underwhelming number one team coming out of the conference championships for you?
I'm going to say Florida.
I was going to say,
I'm going to say
yeah.
Florida.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah.
See, Brad, you're confusing me too. Too many Freddies on the show today. So like, I didn't. I
I
thought
know,
So
you were.
I'm
right?
going two Freds and a Brad. I'm going to address Fred, and I'm going to say Freddie.
Gotcha.
So Freddie, hold please.
Fred, do
Fred,
you also go by Freddie?
Fred.
Okay. What's your
Yeah,
what's your government name? Frederick?
Frederick. Yes.
Gotcha.
should we just go Frederick and Ferdinando?
For some reason, I feel like I shouldn't have told you that.
No, and I'm a Ferdinand.
Yeah, Fred. Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter. But so,
Fine.
yeah, no. I'm gonna say Florida
Yeah.
because I don't even think they're the best team in their conference. And the SEC is obviously a strong conference in hoops. You know, it's getting better and better every year. It seems like Florida. First of all, multiple reasons. But first of all, they don't have a stud really to go to and need a bucket. I mean, they're a good team, but they don't have the Clayton of last year or whatever. You know, when they need a bucket, you know, I think the tournament is guard driven myself, and they don't have those great guards. They, you know, it's one of them things where it's hard to repeat. I mean, in the last 50 years, 3 teams have repeated. I mean,
Wow.
Duke in 91, 92, Florida 06, 07,
UConn.
and UConn 23, 24. Yeah, so those are only 3 teams to repeat since really after the John Wooden UCLA era. So it's one of those things that it's stacked against their they lost, you know, they didn't win their conference tournament. Vanderbilt is a good team, obviously we know that, but I just feel like Florida is going to have a hard time living up to that number 1 seeding this year. You know, you look at their region, Houston is really tough, so we'll get into more of that, but I would say Florida is the weakest of the number 1 seeds right now.
Freddie, what do
Yeah,
you
I
think?
agree. I mean, I was going to say Florida when I thought you were talking to me, but yeah, I think Florida. I'm nothing against Florida because yes, they're a good team. You know, there's a lot of teams in that that are just as good. I feel like as a Florida, like one is Houston. I feel like as well that like if you replace Houston with Florida, I don't know if anyone would realize the difference. Like in the seeding. So like, yeah, I would say Florida is definitely the least favorable number 1. Just like Fred said, it's like, you know, repeats are, you know, I mean, UConn did it, but like, you know, it's like, you know, it's not very, and here's the thing, like, it's not hard. It's also hard getting there again, which kind of stacks the chips against Houston. So like, you know, Houston went on that run last year and everybody was like, damn, all right, Houston's like for real. Like, they're here now. So like, I feel like the chips are stacked a little bit against a team like that. And I just mean just by trends. Like it's not likely, but yeah, I like the Houston team. Yeah, Florida definitely is your least favorable number 1.
Yeah. You know, I agree with you both with Florida. I think I'm going to stay a little more local here. For me, it was Michigan. You know, Michigan losing to Purdue at a 7. The OSU game on Friday was extremely tight. The Wisconsin game was tight. My expectation was to see Michigan pull ahead of both of these teams rather quickly in the game. I think they just struggled, man. And that, like coming into the tournament and losing to Purdue, which helped them. Obviously now their seed is substantially higher, winning the Big Ten tournament. But I just wasn't impressed with Michigan's performance in the Big Ten tournament, which, you know, I'm going to be all in on Michigan to at least I think I have them in the Final Four. But I don't know if that's an educated move or an emotional move on my part. But I'm going to have to go with Michigan coming out of that conference, because again, Big Ten's a tough conference, but I thought Michigan should have handled these teams a little bit more when it came to that.
Go ahead.
I feel like, and I get what you're saying, Brad, completely, but I feel like that's just March. You know, that's just kind of what it is. These tournaments, these conference tournaments, whether people like them or not, you get to the NCAA tournament, every single game, it seems like, comes down to the wire. You know, teams get, you know, the high seeds get, you know, given a run for their money by the low seeds, no matter what, and it's just almost like it's unavoidable. You know, I do get what you're saying. Michigan is not playing as well as they were, but I kind of attribute a little bit of that to it's March and everybody else is stepping up and gunning for them type thing, you know? So it's a possibility. Yep.
Sure.
Well, I was gonna, you know, to piggyback on that. To be honest with you, like Fred was saying, the Big Ten is a tough conference. Like at the beginning of the year, Michigan was just running through teams. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy at the
But
beginning.
now,
Crazy at the beginning.
like Fred said again, now we're at the end of the season. Like, you know, this is it. You know, some teams are playing in their conference tournaments to get a bid. Like, you know, via
Yeah.
Eaton Hall. Like, you know, like the only way Seton Hall was getting in. Is
Who?
Seton Hall?
Did they get in?
No,
I didn't see my
no,
bracket. Okay. My bad.
no. That
Sorry about that.
I let them know you're from the
Yeah.
hall, Fred.
So, but I mean, they're playing in the Big East, but they're playing their tournament to get in. I mean, like,
Big Least. The Big Least, you mean?
yeah, right. Come on. But yeah, some of these teams are playing to get in. And, like 21 win season from Seton Hall is not getting you in unless you're, well, they had to beat the Johnnies and go to the finals. That's all. But like, that's not easy either. But then, so like, the Big Ten is a tough league. Like, I don't think that doesn't surprise me that Michigan had close games.
Do you think, okay, then let me ask you both this. Do you think a harder conference tournament's going to help them
Definitely
in this run?
Definitely.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree, Freddie. Yeah. No, I think it's battle tested, right? I mean, it's battle tested. I mean, these games, like I said, I mean, they might run through their first round game, might not, who knows? But once you get to at least around a 32, it's a battle, man. It is a battle. And sometimes the first round is too, right? But I mean, battle tested. The more you've been in those situations, because they were blowing people out early in the year. I mean, they were winning by 30 against good teams. Yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous. I'm like, man, this Michigan team is scaring me, man. But I mean, they've come back to losing. Kason hurt them too. Let's be realistic. I mean, he's a spark plug off the bench. I mean, he's got a little attitude. Guard play again, one of those things. And I don't think it was serious yesterday. But Lendenberg kind of got hurt at the end of the game. I don't think it's anything serious. But see how if that lingers. Who knows? I mean, things happen in March, but to be battle tested, I think is important. And they're definitely going to be, these Big Ten teams are going to be, SEC teams are going to be, so they'll be ready for it, I'm sure.
Okay. And then, well, with that being said, first round, I'm going to go to Freddie first. Freddie, give me a couple upsets that let me give some context to this too, Fred. To Fred, I'm saying this just kind of fill you in that, like, Freddie and I have said for a while now with this new NIL money and the way these teams are stacked up that we're just not going to see the Cinderella teams like we have in the past. These number one teams, number two teams, the top three-ish are pretty stacked. We're not going to see any huge Cinderella teams, but we know there's going to be one or two. Mm-hmm. It has to be. Freddie, I go to you first. Is there any potential upsets coming out of the first round that you see after you took a look at the bracket?
I mean, Santa Clara, VCU. There were two other teams. I texted you last night so I wouldn't forget them.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. I will look at your text message. So you said South Florida, VCU, Santa Clara, Akron.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't believe there are going to be a lot of upsets, my feeling. But yeah, I could see one of those four. Okay. Maybe a UC.
Fred? Okay. All right. Fred, to you, what any possible upsets in the first round?
I agree with the VCU pick. I think Carolina's on the ropes without Caleb Wilson. I think they could be ripe for the taking. I also like Missouri to win their first round game. I think they're going to beat Miami, Florida. I think they're SEC tested also. And I also think the Santa Clara one could be a good one too. Now, that being said, I believe Santa Clara's got Kentucky, I believe, correct? Yeah. And they haven't been in the tournament since the Steve Nash days in the mid 90s or early 90s. That's crazy. But so I also want to say, like, everybody loves the tournament. Everybody loves the upsets, and it's so much fun, the Cinderella story. But myself, I'm a guy that's great, and you root for it kind of in the beginning, but then you get down to the Sweet 16. I want to see Kentucky playing Duke. I want to see the Blue Bloods playing. I don't want to see George Mason versus Old Dominion, like two Cinderella stories type thing. You know what I mean? Nothing against those schools, but I want to see it, man. I want to see the matchups you dream of, right? So It's kind of like I'm kind of torn. Like when I see these games, I say upsets and that's great and that's cool and it's fun to watch. But then a week later, you're like, oh shit, I kind of wish it was Michigan State versus Duke or whatever it may be. So I'm kind of torn on it. But those would be my picks for the upsets to start: VCU, Missouri, and Santa Clara probably. Yep.
Okay. I took some long ones too. Well, one of them not really a huge because it's an 8-9. I think I talked with you, Freddie, last night about this. I think Utah State over Villanova.
But see,
wait,
how it would be Villanova would be the upset.
I thought that the Utah State was.
But I'm talking if you're getting points, you're the underdog. I don't care what the seat says, right?
You're saying out FanDuel right now.
Yes.
Holy cow! I didn't know that. I know
Interesting.
Utah State's pretty high-powered offense, if I read correctly and have followed. But I did not know Villanova
I
was
went
getting points. Wow.
by
Yeah.
seeding. I went by seeding that, but I see where you're coming from, Freddie. And then I got this one a lot of people aren't going to like, but I got TCU over Ohio State, and then Troy over Nebraska would be my long shot.
That's definitely a possibility. Nebraska's never won an NCAA tournament game. So
all right,
trust your
and
thought.
then let's see. Let's make some money on Thursday. All
There you
right.
go.
So, and then why don't you guys give me, I know it's early. We're just waking up to this, but I'm going to start with Fred. Why don't you give me your final four?
Oh boy. Okay. Well, 3 picks with my head and 1 with my heart. So go green coming out of the East, picking the Spartans. I'm telling you, I know nobody's going to agree. They didn't play well against, in the Big Ten tournament, obviously, and blah, blah, blah. They got to shoot the 3 better, but I just have a feeling they're going to make a run, and I want them to make a run. So we're going with State.
Okay.
I'm coming out of the East. Vanderbilt. I'm picking Vanderbilt to come out of the South region. That's the one we talked about with Florida. I think they were the best team in the SEC this year, personally. And I think they're on a roll, and they got a lot of confidence winning that conference tournament. And I think they'll probably have to get past Houston, but I can see them doing it. So I got State, Vanderbilt, and then I'm going to go with, in the West, I'm going to go with Arkansas. Arkansas is the 4 seed. Calipari obviously is a Hall of Fame coach. I think they have the best player in the country, Darius Acuff Jr. By the way, Freddie, Detroit guy, good Detroit guy right there, Darius Acuff Jr. Yeah, no, he's a freshman and he's phenomenal. Again, I talked about guard play. He's incredible. He may be the first pick in the draft. He's going to the NBA, I'm sure. But anyway, I got Arkansas, and then in the Midwest, I'm going with Iowa State. I think Iowa State's playing really well. I think they've had a great year. I think they're really good. And I think they get help. Michigan fans won't like it. I think St. Louis wins their first round game also. And I think St. Louis beats Michigan in the second round. They can shoot the 3. They can shoot the 3.
Before I get to Freddie, and which wild though, you have no Duke, you have no Arizona.
Nope.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
I feel like my heart, obviously, MSU over Duke in the regional final.
Well, speaking of your heart, speaking of your heart, Fred, before I get to Freddie and his final four, I noticed the hat you're wearing. You and I have just recently become friends with your addition to Oakenstone. I know that your daughter is on the cheer team at Michigan State. Are you a Michigan State fan because you are financially vested in this school now? Or are you have you been a Michigan State fan for a long time? Because we need a little context that where you're.
Sure. No, absolutely. Yeah. No, I've always been a Spartan fan. I've always said my 2 favorite teams are MSU and whoever's playing Michigan. So, that's kind of how I've always been. Growing up, I did not go to State, but like you said, my daughter's there now. She's on the cheer team. I'm financially vested also, so I'm become more of a Spartan fan. It's become part of our family. We're there for all the football games. We're at some of the basketball games. We traveled down to Florida to watch the cheer team compete in the nationals. So we are Spartans now. Our household, we're Spartans, all of us. So it started when I was young, and it's kind of obviously built up to this point now where I'm actually, not only do I have my daughter going there, but I'm obviously financially invested. So it adds to it. But yeah, go green, man, all the way.
Just out of curiosity, when you go to the Michigan State games, is your family the only family there in the tailgate, or is there other families?
There's other families.
Okay, just curious. I wasn't sure.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Freddie, give me
we have a solo tailgate, and then we got other. Everyone's
okay. Let me ask a better question. I understand the Michigan State partner in the parking lot. How about the stadium?
The what? I'm sorry, repeat that, Brad.
I said that I know that how Michigan State Spartans operate. Yes, there's probably a lot of them in the parking lot. How about in the stadium?
Oh yeah, wild.
Diehards.
Diehards. Yep, through and through, baby. Start to finish.
So it's heart and financial. I love it.
100% combination of the two.
All
yeah,
right.
I'm saying Izzo's got to get a second title. Are we picking our champion too, or no?
Not yet.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Give me your final four.
So I'm gonna go. My final four is I'm going with the ones. All 4 ones. I know it's an unpopular thing to do, but
It happened last year.
yes, it did happen last year. I think it's gonna happen again. My only iffy one is the Florida thing, but I just feel like maybe Florida turns around. Now, Vandy, love Vandy. I'll tell you why. Chandler Bing. I mean, there's a guy on Vandy called Chandler Bing. I mean, how can't you?
How do you not love
How
that?
can't you cheer for this guy? And he comes off the bench. Like Vandy and Houston, that's going to be tough. There's a couple other teams that, but yes, to make it a long story short, I'm going with the 4 ones again to get to the Final Four. We will see. I don't think it's like deep down inside, you have to believe that it's not going to happen because you're wrong more than right. But we'll see. That's what I'm going with.
All right, and give me your
I
winner.
have Duke, Arizona in the final with Duke taking the championship.
Okay. Fred?
Arkansas winning the whole thing over the Spartans. I hate to say it, but I do.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I think they got the best player in the tournament, and we're going to see it. If you've followed, obviously, Arkansas this year. State played them earlier in the year, and A-Cup was just getting started, and Spartans beat them, obviously. But they've gotten a lot better since then. Brazil's come on. A-Cup's gotten better and better. Like I say, I mean, I hate to see it, but I think they win it over State in the final. So
Okay. My Final Four. I'm going to go with Arizona, Michigan, St. John's, and Houston. I think I'm going to go with Arizona and St. John's in the final, with Arizona winning it all. I would like to see Michigan go, but I don't know. I just don't have. And I really would like to see St. John's win. I told Fred this last night on the phone. I would really love to see the Johnnies do something. I think it would be really cool. I think I think they're just a really good team, and they looked great this weekend. So that's my pick.
they got kind of a raw deal with a 5 seed too.
Well, and that was another thing that I wanted to talk about. I think they're better than UConn. I think they're better than Michigan State, and I think they're better than Kansas. I think Fred and I earlier were talking when he was in the office. Kansas doesn't really do much in the tournament. They've been a kind of a flop for quite some time. And for them to get seeded higher, all three of those teams, in my opinion, MSU is different. And I'll tell you this, Fred, I'm an Izzo guy, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm a Michigan fan. I didn't go to Michigan. I'm a Michigan fan because my wife went to Michigan. So I've married into fandom.
Right.
I have to. I'm a Ferris guy. We win national championships. That's what we do up in.
That's what you do.
You know what I mean? But I just thought it was, Michigan State's different when it comes to the tournament. They just are.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Yeah. They I feel like it's a classic Izzo team in a lot of ways. They rebound well. I think they led the country in offensive rebounding. They were top 5 in the country in defensive rebounding, or vice versa, whatever, one or the other. Good guard play. Fears has stepped up to be one of the better point guards in the country. Whether you like him or not, he's some kind of he's getting some notoriety for what he's pulled on the court sometimes. But he's become a really good player. His shooting's improved. One of the top, I believe he leads NCAA in assists per game, 9.5, I believe. Really, really good. State's problem comes down to one thing, in my opinion. They can't shoot the 3. Like they if they're hot, like when they play, lose my train of thought. Who they lose to in the Big Ten tournament now?
Who they lose to, Freddie?
Trying to remember. Lost my train of thought.
I forget
Regardless.
Yeah.
UCLA.
Yep.
So when they played UCLA the first time, they made like 15 threes. The other night, they made some threes, but they made them late. And they dug themselves a hole early in the games. In the first half, they couldn't throw it in the ocean, right? So it's
Right.
like you can't dig a hole in this tournament. You can't go in a 5-minute scoring drought in this tournament. You can't do that kind of stuff, right? And my only question about State, like I said, it was a heart pick. So the only question about them I have is, are they going to be able to drum up enough offense when it matters? Are they going to be able to get a bucket when they need one? Who do they go to?
And I do think a lot of people are curious how many nut shots Jeremy Fuse Jr. is going to take in the NCAA tournament. Apparently, the FanDuel line is 2. The FanDuel line is 2. Are you taking the over or the under?
Over, yeah, right? I'm hoping for the under, but I don't know, man.
I thought that was another state tradition.
That's what we thought too. That we thought last week.
What other traditions? What do you mean?
Like sucking off the logo, like on senior night.
I mean, kissing the floor, showing respect to the program? Come on, man.
Do that on your own time.
That means a lot. It means everything. To those
Do that
guys,
on your
man.
own time. There's kids there.
This is a family show, right?
Come on.
Luckily, we just got through saying no kids are watching sports anymore, so nobody cares, right?
I will say, Brad, I will say this, though. I'm not surprised. Me personally, Big East guy, I'm not surprised at the seeding. I don't think the Big East is the Big East of old, obviously. So that, there's Brad. Is that you?
That's me, buddy. Sorry. Be
Okay,
better.
so you have St. John's and you have UConn. Then you have a Villanova team, right? The rest of the Big East is mediocre teams. Like
Right.
yeah, UConn and the Johnnies battle each other, right? You know, Seton Hall gives a close game here and there. Villanova, like Marquette upsets UConn, crazy stuff like that. Yeah, it happens. But like, I think personally, you throw UConn and the Johnnies in the Big Ten, and they're middle of the pack.
That's tough. That's tough, man. Because I mean, those teams are good
Yeah,
teams, and obviously, it's hard. I mean, you're right. The Big East isn't what it used to be. I remember the Big East being sweet. I remember watching Big Monday, ACC, Big East Tuesday, these matchups. Back when Georgetown, Syracuse, these teams were powerhouses. And it was awesome, man. It was some of the best basketball I remember growing up.
it,
And it's obviously that's
yeah,
changed a lot,
and
right?
it's starting to trend back because
Uh,
and due to coaching, really. Patino
yeah,
Jr., Kevin Willard
sure.
now is back.
Hmm.
And so like, it's starting to trend back. McDermott, I think, is gone now. This was his last year, so we'll see what happens there. But like, yeah, no, like every once in a while you get a great Creighton team or, like a team
Yeah,
like that. But like this year particularly, I mean, UConn was at the top of the division basically and the Johnnies all year. And I wasn't that impressed. Like, there were years where the 2 years UConn won it back to back, even the third year that they got upset in the tournament. Like, I thought those teams just they were just beating everybody, I felt like. And now this year I'm like, like it's not that Seton Hall lost to UConn by 4. Seton Hall has 10 conference wins and they're not in the tournament. So that just shows you 10 conference wins in the Big East doesn't get you in the tournament because it's not a good conference.
yeah, yeah. That's tough. I mean, realistically, these teams beat up on each other all
Yeah.
year, right? In all these conferences, these good conferences, right? So, I mean, like we talked about battle tested in the conference tournaments. I mean, regular season they're battle tested too, right? I mean, it's all gonna, and sometimes it wears them down, right? I mean, I don't really think Duke's #1 overall seed. I don't really think there's a clear cut. I think it's wide open, honestly, this year.
Well,
Partially
that's
because of the transfer portal. Obviously, it's a huge factor. It brings, like we said earlier, it brings so many more teams into it, and it's not really like there's really any one team that stands out. Yeah, Duke's really good. Arizona. Some people think Arizona's that team. Michigan was for a long time. Where do they
yeah,
stand now? It's like, man, this is kind of wide open. So I think hate to bring it up again. Back to the Spartans, they got a
Yeah.
shot, right?
for sure, for sure. I think anytime you have Izzo running the ship, I think you do have a shot. But moving on, though, obviously Thursday, Friday is going to be awesome. We posting a lot of stuff. We'll be, hopefully, Fred, you can make one of the events that we have either Thursday or Friday. Friday we'll be at Don Cristo's all day smoking cigars.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday we're in Royal Oak, I believe it's Fifth Avenue, Royal Oak, Fifth
Okay.
Avenue. And Freddie, if you want to, you could just fly in and come watch the
There you
games
go.
with me. Would be ideal. Well, speaking of fans, Big Daddy's back, Freddie. Big Daddy's back, and he's got some questions for us. So let me pull it up.
Hey guys, Big Daddy back. Sorry about missing last week. I know that it was talked about on the pod that you all might make an effort to reach out to me, so I guess I was waiting for that, and I guess your people weren't able to get in touch with my people, but wanted to reach out. World Baseball Classic, if for the people, if they haven't been watching, they've certainly been missing out. But we're one day away at this point from the final. Play either Venezuela or Italy. And, I want to know from the United States team who you guys feel has been the MVP so far. And then also, if you want to go through and I think grade some of the big name players, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Cal Riley, Aaron Judge, who's supposedly the captain. And just grades, and see how they've done so far, along with some pitchers too as well. Give them a grade A through F. I think that would be good. But wanted to know, most importantly, who you guys feel has been the MVP so far. And yeah, so look forward to hearing it, guys. Big Daddy signing off.
All right, Big Daddy again. We're glad to have him on the show. Let me start out real quick and talk about Big Daddy. Apparently, we don't know who Big Daddy is, so I don't know how Big Daddy thought that we were going to get in touch with his people, which is rather odd. Don't understand that. I do, however, am grasping concepts every time he speaks, and his backwards comment about Aaron Judge. I don't know if you picked up on that, Fred. Was at least supposed to be the captain. Kind of leads me to believe he may be a East Coast fan, maybe in the Boston region, would be my thought. So he sounds like a Sox fan who's maybe a little upset with the performance of Aaron Judge. And because this is your thing, Freddie, why don't you? Because I have a feeling that the call was really kind of directed towards you, Freddie. Just
I'm
kind of
going to
seeing
say,
between the lines.
for starters, I think the MVP is Captain America right now. Aaron Judge. So I mean, no matter what team you root for and stuff, if you're watching the WBC, he's just, I think personally that he's your MVP right now. We don't know what's going to happen, Tuesday night. Maybe somebody emerges out of the shadows. Listen, I'm going to even give them this, Mr. Big Daddy. Roman Anthony's a stud. I'm not opposed to say how good, Roman Anthony is. The thing is, we're always on the mind of everybody else. It's like no one ever thinks about their own people. They're always thinking about the Yankees. I will say that I do think Captain America right now is your MVP right now. It's kind of tough because there's not much to go on. I mean, but yeah, that would be my pick. I do think that Roman Anthony is a total stud, but yeah, I mean, that's what I would go with as of right now. I don't know who Big Daddy thinks is the big MVP. Maybe Bill Buckner.
Bill Buckner for sure. I'm going to go to you, Fred. I know you're a baseball fan as well. A little context behind Fred. He coaches travel baseball, and so he's obviously very well versed in that. So why don't you answer Big Daddy's question on who you think the MVP is right now in the world of baseball?
Yeah, no. To your point, Freddie, Judge has been incredible. I think because not only is he's hit a couple of homers and he's been obviously the big bat in the lineup, but he's made a couple incredible throws. I mean, absolute ropes throwing guys out at third. So much
Last
to the
night
point
was
where
insane.
So much to the point where later in the game, Tatis could have gone to third and a ball hit the center field, and he held up when it was PCA in outfield. So that was, it was in the back of his mind, right?
And that ties the game after
that ties the game,
right,
for sure. I mean, Judge has been incredible. That being said, and I know you're not going to like this, I'm going to say Roman Anthony just because he's driven in 7. He's got a 10-14 OPS and small sample size. I get it. A couple of dingers, big one last night. I had no idea this guy's as good as he is. I mean, this guy's really good, obviously. He's a stud, big time. And I've been impressed with him. But I would say it's between those two guys. I'd give it to Anthony, but Judge is right on his ass. And other than that, I mean, let's go. I mean, Mason Miller's got a couple of saves. That's been huge coming in pressure situations, even though last night was a little questionable. But, I love this event. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. This event's awesome. I mean, I love baseball. I'm not a spring training guy, though. It drives me nuts. So this just makes spring training tolerable. It's like, man, this is awesome. But my one question is, I don't know if we're going to bring this up or not, but I'm just going to say it now. Maybe you guys can answer this. Why in the hell are the organizers of the WBC not put U.S. and Dominican on opposite sides of the brackets to make that the championship game? I don't get that. Yeah. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? That was an awesome game, and I was so excited to watch it.
No, I don't. I'm not sure. It had to do with the seeding, so it's not opposite.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, it was because we dropped to 2. That would have put us on the other side.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. My bad. Yep.
That makes sense too, because I was wondering the same thing on why this wasn't going to be a championship game. But I think overall, I think it's unanimous. I'm going to go with you guys too. I think, actually, Fred went with the guy from Boston, but I'm with Judge too. His batting average right now, I believe, I looked it up before I jumped on the pod. It's like 2-something. The high 2s, something like that, which there's some guys on the team that have a higher batting average, but I think the impact at which he brings in the game, and to Fred's point, holding up Tatis at third, those things just don't show up in a stat book. And as you know, Fred, as a coach, there's things that players do on the field or, They make adjustments for players on the field that don't end up in stat books, and I think that's where it is. But to be honest with you, I think it's the U.S. pitching staff that is. I mean, they're averaging 14 strikeouts in 9 innings, which is crazy. And to do what they did last night to the Dominican was
crazy.
Awesome, right?
Skeens was really good, man. He really was. You know, I think Dominican was averaging 10 runs a game going into the game last night.
Yeah,
so
right.
He was incredible.
I thought it was going to be a high-scoring game last night. I truthfully did. Did you guys both think it would be?
I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I was hoping. Listen, and as a Yankee fan, I'm like, we're gonna fucking light up Sevy early and get him out of here. And now he's throwing 101, 102. Like, what?
Unbelievable.
Where does that come from?
I mean, can you guys believe? I mean, one thing I'll say, obviously I'm rooting for Team USA, but watching a Dominican team, I've never seen a team have more fun in my life, dude. These guys were so much fun to watch. It's like just jacked. I mean, I've never seen Severino that much to be that jacked, dude. He was like, when he got out of that first inning, he was just wound up, man. I'm like, he better cool it, man. He's gonna come down a notch or so, you know. But I mean, all these guys were just wound up. I mean, having a great time. And it was really fun to see because I think baseball needs a little bit of that, man. Baseball needs that. This is a great event.
I mean, Pujols said this would be bigger than his World Series win.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? I was just going to say that. And there's a lot of players who have said that this, and who have played in the World Series and guys who have not been to the World Series, but they're saying like this is the biggest game they've ever played in. Now, Freddie, you're going to have to help me out with the last name. I think we talked about this last night. The guy on the Italian team, Vinny, what's Vinny's last name? The Pasquatch. He was saying that was one of the loudest games he's ever played in, which is crazy.
I mean, so like also like internationally, so like, you know, like that game against Mexico, you know, and they mentioned it on the broadcast last night. It was like 75% Mexican fans, you know, down in Houston. You know, like these games these people are fired up. I would say that the Dominicans last night too, there was more percentage-wise in the stands as well in Miami. So like, you know, like these are fucking huge venues and huge events. I mean, I will say this too, Fred. I mean, Italy has fun. You know, I think Italy has turned into America's team, which is crazy.
I wholeheartedly agree. I am slowly rooting for New Jersey to beat Venezuela on tonight, and that would be awesome to see Italy play USA.
And I spoke to Brad. We spoke about this offline too. That Venezuela game against Japan, man. You talk about dudes that were fired up. Like, I mean, that was just crazy. Like,
I mean, Miggy in the dugout was going nuts, man.
I was just going to bring that up.
Trying to get thrown out.
Right? It was so awesome, though. I love it.
I hope they do something. I think that every 3 years is too much. I think this needs to go every other year or something because I think it's just so fun to watch. It is so fun to watch.
Yeah.
And again, to your point, Fred, and Freddie's brought this up for the past month, it's at a perfect time. Yeah. Right before baseball's about to kick off. It allows some of these people that, you know, that aren't real familiar maybe with the individual names on other teams get to know these players a little bit more. And now they can go back and root for them and stuff. So I think it's just a huge asset for baseball. This tournament has really transformed baseball, in my opinion, and it's gotten a lot more notoriety. But you know, before we get into golf and my collapse yesterday that I'm going to talk about, it's just frustrating as hell. We had another caller. And now this caller is going to stay along the lines of he's going to go into basketball. Okay, so let's see. Fred, Freddie, you might recognize this name.
Hey, Dad. What's up, Freddie? Give me your top 5 NBA players of all time.
All right.
Okay.
Those of you who don't know, that's my son, Dax, man. He hits me up. He's like, I need to know what you and Freddie think. I said, son, you got to call just like the rest of the fans. Got to get on the horn. So he recorded that. So he wants to know, and I'm going to start with Freddie first. Freddie, give me your top 5 NBA players of all time for the Dax man.
I'm not going to go in any order, though, okay? Because, I don't want to get into the LeBron Jordan debate. But I'm going to put both.
I think we're all old enough here and adults that's not a debate, but go ahead, Fred.
I'm going to put both of them in there. I'm going to put Jordan and LeBron in there. I'm going to go with AI, Kobe, and Bird.
Ooh, good pick.
There's so
good
many
pick.
though, like on the like I would love to throw Magic in there. Team, I mean, that's just me. That's my 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're naming a lot of the people who are on my list, and by the way, they're also my son Dax was raised right, so he understands who's better, Jordan or LeBron. So he knows, like he understands. Fred, why don't you give us? You haven't had the opportunity to meet my son Dax, but you would really like him. He's a huge baseball nut, loves the NBA. Give of your top 5.
All right, Dax. My top 5 are. You got to go Jordan and LeBron. Got to be in there. Like I said, no particular order. I agree with you, Freddie. I'm not going to get into that argument, but I am, for the record, I am a Jordan guy. But LeBron, great player, obviously, and I think clearly the second best. Anyway, Kobe, I'm going 3 as the third guy. So Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. And then my last 2, I'm going Hakeem Olajuwon. Unbelievable player, 2-time champion, 2-time finals MVP, defensive player of the year, 12-time All-Star, just phenomenal player. Underrated in my opinion. And then Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan's the best power forward ever, 5-time champion, 3-time MVP. I mean, this guy, underrated, the big fundamental, boring, but unbelievably good. I mean, the best player, best power forward in history of the game, in my opinion. So Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Hakeem, and Tim Duncan.
I like it. That's an interesting pick, and though a good pick. And it's funny because the Dream for sure should be up there. And you know what's funny is if you watch some of these younger players or you watch any of the Netflix documentaries or any of them, a lot of players bring up his name. And I do wholeheartedly agree with you. He is underrated, but a lot of players that play the game bring up Hakeem Olajuwon. Or you see a lot of 90s basketball players on podcasts and they mention him all the time.
Fantastic player. The Dream Shake, one of the great moves in the history of the game.
Right.
Like I said, incredible shot blocker. Led the league in blocks like 5 times. Won 2 back-to-back championships when Jordan retired, obviously, and then came back. I mean, Hakeem's great, man, and I think he's underrated for sure.
Yeah. Okay, mine are in order, and I'm going to start with number 5 first. Number 5, I'm going to go with Magic Johnson. Number 4, I'm going with Kobe Bryant. Number 3, I had a hard time. It was between Shaq and Kareem, and I went with Kareem. Number 2 is the guy out in LA now, Cleveland, and wherever he seems to feel that he fits in so he can win with another person. That would be LeBron James. And then obviously number 1 best basketball player in the entire world is Michael Jordan. So there you go, Dax man. There's our top 5. I can guarantee you the Dax man has no clue who Hakeem Olajuwon is.
Threw him for a loop with that one, right?
Yeah, you did. You did. He's going to be on YouTube watching him, trying to figure out how to do the Dream Shake.
Find some videos, man.
Yep, watch the YouTube.
He'll be like, Dad, this guy was awesome, man.
You know what's funny is, he's a good shooter, my son that is, just struggles handling the ball. And I'm like, you got to get more confident. And I sent him a 20-minute clip the other day of White Chocolate.
Oh, man.
Watch these videos. And surprisingly, he was actually, Dad, I've seen some of his clips before. I'm like, This kid was unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Crazy. Yep.
Okay, so moving on, obviously, the last but not least, before we let Fred go, Players Championship, great event this weekend. Let me start it out by I called my picks right out the gate, and I dropped 20 on Ludwig right out the gate, and just the whole weekend I am on cloud 9. Saturday night, I throw it out on social media. Do I cash out? Right? 70 something. And let me ask you guys this question real quick. And I don't want to get down too big a rabbit hole, because when I got home from working yesterday, my wife told me, I told you what to do. Now, the post, you both saw the post. Should I cash out or should I let it ride? Her response on Instagram was, get the money. How do you two interpret that?
I'll go for, I interpret it as cash out.
Ooh, Freddie?
I I would have hedged a little bit if you didn't cash out.
I want to know what you thought Sarah's comment, if that was Sarah's comment to you and it says get the money, does it mean
Listen,
cash out or is that
if I'm doing it for a living, I'm cashing out. But like, because that's the way to win. But me personally, I'm not cashing out. I would have hedged it a little bit and just went with it.
Well, I misinterpreted that Instagram post, and when it said get the money, I was getting the 420.
Getting the
That's
bag.
how I
Yeah. Getting you a bag.
When you say get the money, it's not cash out, it's the whole bag. That was
my
my
God.
So when
Man.
I came home from working and she's just like, I told you to cash out. I was like, no, you didn't. You wanted me to let it ride. You want me to let
I
it ride?
interpret it as take the money
Yeah.
now and run type thing.
Fair enough. I was in the wrong once again. And wait. But if I hedged, and I told you this last night, if I hedged, I would have had taken, I'm going to butcher the dude's name, Thorsby or something like.
Oh, Thor Burnson?
Yeah. I would have taken him because he would have been the close. What's that? Don't get me wrong. I had them. I had 5 different guys with $5 a piece, and none of them worked out. But great tournament. I said I had 5 different guys with 5 different $5 bets. But great tournament, and the ending was great. Obviously, that shot that Cam had on an 18 was a bomb, like insane. Fitzpatrick goes out a little bit, and struggles coming up with a bogey. I thought Cam was going to make the birdie. I thought he was going to win with the birdie. Fred, I know you are a monster golf fan. What was your take on the tournament?
I love the players. First of all, I think it's good the way it is. By the way, don't make it another major. I like the 4 majors. I don't like a 5th. It's not the Grand Slam. Then all this stuff, whatever. The player stands on its own to me as quote unquote the 5th major, but it's a huge event the way it is. Don't make it a major. I love it. Anyway, Ludwig played so well the first 3 days. It was unbelievable. And when he made bogey at 18 on Saturday, on your post on Facebook, I was non-committal, but I had a feeling it could come back and bite him. I'm not going to hide it. I was like, man, that just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And then he's going into Sunday, the biggest round of his career. He's 24 years old, if I'm correct. He's never been in the lead at a tournament that big, right? Going into this thing on Sunday, guys are 4 or 5 back. These guys are some big names. They can chase him down. So much can happen in the last 3 holes, and it happened before that for Ludwig. He started falling apart, and he ended up shooting a 76. The door opened. Fitzpatrick was pretty solid, but I think if we said 4 or 5 back, somebody can come from there. I think Cam was 4 back going into yesterday, and the shot at 17 with that huge – I mean, the crowd there, unbelievable. He fires a 57-degree wedge. I was listening to the interview afterwards. 57-degree wedge. Pin high, spins it a little bit right, and knocks it down. I'm like, oh, man, how big was that? I had goosebumps watching it. I'm like, holy shit, dude, this is fucking awesome, right? And but I love Cam. The crowd was totally for him, obviously. Fitzpatrick being, from Great Britain or whatever. But he's won a U.S. Open. Fitzpatrick he's battle-tested. In the end, this in the fairway at 18 was huge to Fitzpatrick because he had to knock it down in front, rely on his short game to get it up and down. And the chip was not that great. He had 12 feet or 10 feet or whatever. And even though Cam missed it, he still had to make a 10-footer to extend. He couldn't do it. So it was a great tournament, though. I love watching it, and bring on the Masters.
Yeah, for sure. But Freddie, before I go to you, I want to bring something up, and I don't know if you heard this, and I don't know how much. Did you watch the very end? Just real quick.
I did not.
Okay, it's kind of what I wasn't sure. I knew you were probably bouncing around between basketball. So I want to bring this up to you because I think you'll find this entertaining. To Fred's point, as they were coming up 18, the crowd was all in for Cam, right? Fitzpatrick even made like a motion on his face, kind of like, as he's getting booed, kind of like made, a thing. Well, after the tournament is over and he won, he said on an interview, he was like, if Florida, right, thought that they were giving me a hard time, they've never played at Bethpage and they've never played in New York. And I thought that was funny. He's like, good try, guys.
Yeah.
Good try.
See last year's Ryder Cup, right? How was that? That was crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's so typical Long Island.
Right.
But it was a great way to end the Players Championship. And though I lost a ton of money, I lost a couple $100. I'll call it a couple $100 because I could have took the cash out. It was a great finish, and that's what I want to see. And, kind of like Fred's comment of in the Sweet 16, I want to see the best teams play. I want to see the best 2 guys on that day going head-to-head at the end. I was really kind of hoping for a playoff hole. I love when they go to playoff holes because, again, it's the pressure. But again, one of the greatest sports in the world, man. It really is, because the pressure, the amount of pressure, to your point, Fred, is like Ludwig at 24 years old, up 3 strokes. Like, you have a chance to make history. And even Cam on 18 said, like, in his head, he was going through his pre-shot routine, and he's like, I have the potential of hitting the best shot of my entire life. And that's exactly what he did, which was awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yep.
Which is awesome. But all right, well, Fred, we appreciate you. Welcome to Oakenstone. I'm super ecstatic that you're here now. We have just increased our Oakenstone Scramble team by significantly for this summer, so I'm excited about that, and hope to see you this week at some of the events out there, my friend. But thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to be at Oakenstone. Excited to get out and play some golf this year also. And had a great time today, guys. Freddie, thank you. Brad.
Absolutely, my friend. Take care.
Take care, buddy.
Awesome to have him on. Man, we ran long, but we gotta end the way we always do. And it's what are we watching? I know that you were kind of locked in. I'll let you start first, but go ahead, Fred. What do you got going on? What are you watching?
Finishing up The Lincoln Lawyer. But like, other than that, this week, it was Oscar week. When you called me, I told you who was winning. Yes. Have you seen the movie? No. One battle after another.
1 minute.
Yeah. So I think
did you watch it?
What's that?
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that I understand why it was Best Picture out of the rest of the nominees. I did watch Sinners as well. I thought it was pretty good. I know, it got into the vampire thing, and I know that's not, your bag.
Right.
If it didn't get into vampires and it was something else, I think it could have been Best Picture. If it just stayed with like Louisiana voodoo stuff, kind of, and it didn't get into the vampire thing, but I enjoyed it. I thought I think it was a great movie. I think One Battle After Another was really good. So that didn't surprise me at all. Frankenstein, thought it was a cool movie for Frankenstein, right?
Yep.
It wasn't, our generation of Frankenstein, right? With the square head and the bolts and the green. It was pretty cool. I thought that was cool. F1 was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I know you weren't crazy about Begonia. I thought it was artsy. It was good. America's Sweetheart. So I'm not going to ever bash any of her work. But yeah, no, there was a lot of good shit out there. Right now I'm going to be finishing Lincoln Lawyer. We I don't know if did you watch Love is Blind?
I didn't. I'm not. I gotta get on that though. A lot of people are talking about it.
Okay, so finished all that, it was the reunion or whatever. Did all that stuff. But yeah, I'm not sure where we're going after Lincoln Lawyer.
Okay. Well, maybe I can help with that. Obviously, what I'm watching right now is, do you know first of all, Sinners, great movie. Not a vampire guy. Sat through the whole thing. I liked it. Big Michael B. Jordan guy, of course, right? I think he should have won an Oscar for Creed, but that's just me. I'm just saying. But I have to, what I watch. I might be breaking people up, but I'd watch season 7 of Virgin River on Netflix, man. I love those romantic shows.
Well, yeah, and Mayor's getting ready to watch that.
Good one.
It's funny because every time I click it on, how it pops up as just in.
Yeah.
And I just keep saying to her, "Are you gonna watch this Virgin River yet?" And she, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it." So yes, the new season did come out. I knew you loved that show.
Yeah, great show. It's actually filmed. It's supposed to be in California, by the way, Fred. I don't know exactly where in California, but I'm going to say north of LA, south of Sacramento. That's kind of where I'm picturing it. But I'm also 2 shows that I'm watching week by week. Hate it, but I just couldn't wait. Okay. And we talked about it last week. DTF St. Louis, Jason Bateman movie. I don't know, Fred. It's such a weird show. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. It's super, super strange. But to your point, Fred, I think the reason I continue to hang on is Bateman.
Yeah.
Bateman.
I mean,
right? I'll watch it all out. I don't think Sarah's a fan. She thinks it's a weird show. It is. but it's kind of funny. It's a dry humor, but
Yeah.
you got to check it out. And
Yeah,
then
I'm waiting for it to stack up a little as long and your other show that you're watching, I know what you're gonna say, which
what is
I already was told that she will be starting it with or without me.
what show's that?
Shrinking.
Yeah, that one. I wasn't going to mention that one this week, but that is a
Oh.
good one to watch it. I thought you were going to nail what I was thinking about. The one that I brought up, it's only 2 episodes so far.
Paradise?
Nope.
Okay.
Rooster with Steve Carell.
Okay.
It's about so he's an author, and he actually is visiting his daughter who's a teacher at a college. So the first 2
Yeah.
episodes was him on campus. Awesome. So
What's it
far
on?
it is awesome. HBO.
Okay.
So
Yep.
Steve Carell's awesome in it. There's a couple other people that are starting to stand out in the show, but he's phenomenal. The cop in the show is great. The first 2 episodes were awesome. I can't wait to see how this one goes. But that's what we're watching this week. And like I said, guys, hit like, hit subscribe. Fred, it's always a pleasure to talk with you every Monday, and I will be texting like madman. And let's throw some bets around on Thursday and Friday. Let's win some money, my friend.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
Miami loses on Wednesday too. Miami of Ohio. Done.
Okay. Party's
In
over.
the play-in game.
Sounds good. All right, Fred. Take care, buddy.